about to fall. We gonna open your eyes so you can see who you gonna call if you wanna be free. GLOBEBUSTERS! 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 Who you gonna call? Who you gonna call? Who you gonna call? Yeah! GLOBEBUSTERs! GLOBEBUSTERs! GLOBEBUSTERs!
And welcome everybody to GLOBEBUSTERs. We accept the reality of the world with which we're presented. It's as simple as that.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of GLOBEBUSTERS Tech. I'm your host, Zach Good Times for All, and today we're going to be asking a question about free energy. I know I did a show on this a couple years ago when I saw this gentleman. He had a TV that was just supposedly gathering energy, from the air. They say it's RF waves, radio frequency waves. Now, we're going to get into it in the video. A lot of people have been developing this type of technology lately, over the last, 5 to 10 years, where people are taking RF waves and then they run it through a thing called Tesla theorized about it, and then they built it in the 70s. It's a rectenna. So on your credit card, it has that little chip. Well, that thing has a little wire as an antenna going around it. And there's no power source in your credit card or your driver's license nowadays, the real ID, all that kind of stuff. But there's, like, when you walk into a Walmart, there will be a device on the wall. Okay. And that RFID chip will get energy from that device on the wall through that antenna. And then it and the card can then share information back and forth. They've had this technology for quite a while now. Like I said, I believe it was in the 70s or maybe the late 60s when the first time it was actually implemented, this device, the rectenna. And it's all about gathering radio waves, RF waves, and converting them into DC. So this isn't new technology, but what this gentleman we're going to talk about tonight is able to do is something that nobody's been able to do yet, which is really amplify the amount of energy that they're gathering. So I don't know how true this is. There's been all kinds of people who have gone and documented, and there's even people who have bought some of these vehicles from him. And he's a gentleman from Zimbabwe, which, I have a buddy in South Africa we talk to quite regularly. Unkululelu Duma is his name. He hangs over on Iron Rail Media with us in the mornings. And he said Zimbabwe is, as far as like literacy and things like that, Zimbabwe is pretty much the top when it comes to sub-Saharan, at least, Africa. Their education, it's a beautiful country, lots of big cities, they have running water and electricity. I know a lot of people think of these countries and they think of people running around with sticks in the bush, and that's just not how it is. Even 50 years ago, it wasn't like that. They had big giant cities and stuff. But yeah, Zimbabwe, there's a lot of smart people in Zimbabwe. And this gentleman, the stuff he's doing is just amazing. We're going to check it out. But before we do, we're going to say hello to the panel, and we'll start off with Miss Karen B. Karen, how has your week been, ma'am?
It's been all right. Staying busy.
Had such a great time over at your house last weekend. That was so much fun. Seeing everybody, and the work that you and Ted have put in to Karen Land is just amazing. That place is even more magical now. It's hard to say, but it is. It's even more magical than it was before. So thank you for all the hard work you're doing out there and letting us come hang out.
Oh, well, thanks for coming. We had a great time having everybody over.
Yeah, that was a good one. All right. Next up, we have Mr. Kyle Adams. Kyle, how was your week, sir?
It's been really good. Went and got a video out to collect thoughts on Moonlight. That's my topic for next week is Moonlight and hearing different people's thoughts on the matter. Just kind of going from the textbook, as they claim it's all just reflected sunlight. But do you believe in that? Why or why not? And that's what I've been kind of putting out my antennas for, and just kind of collecting that stuff to my conspiracy board, because there's a lot of different things on that, and it's really wild just how big of a topic that really is. I know Bob, he had some great things to say about that back in the day, and so I can highlight with that. Rob Skiba said some great things on the matter, so there's like a rich just amount of content that I can share and say about that.
Wasn't that Bob's first Flattoberfest presentation on the Moonlight and how bright it would have to be to the astronauts?
Yeah, when it comes to like the
That was
inverse
an
square law.
inverse square law. That was an inverse square law. The fluorescence, it was fun with the fluorescence. I jumped in without you introducing me. Hi, everybody. I'm Cammie. We're not done talking Karen and Kyle, but he did when we mentioned fluorescence like 9 or 10 years ago on GLOBEBUSTERS, with talking about cold lighting and fluorescent lighting and even natural lighting being cold lighting, and that after that, with a lot of the things, it was fun that after that they started announcing that the moon does have fluorescent components and is fluorescent and doing that. But I never saw that until after we announced it, and I that was like one of the things I thought was really funny, that after like we were putting it out, the fluorescent properties, all of a sudden you start finding scientific papers on how it's not just reflecting, it's fluorescing and creating its own light. So yeah,
I'll have to look into that one.
But now you can find information online that says it's fluorescing and doing it. There's quite a bit of stuff, but we put it out there first. Thanks, Bob.
Yep, thanks, Bob. He's really has just opened my eyes to so much, way more than just flat Earth. And so, I love how diverse everything gets and just branches out. Flat Earth is just the beginning.
Very, very true.
So are you going to introduce me? Are you going to introduce me, Zach?
You introduced yourself.
Okay, I introduced myself and it's over.
How was your week?
My week was lovely. I have Liz. Will you come over and just wave? Will you just come and wave? We have Liz Iron Maiden here from Scotland. Come. You have your earphones and you can, if you don't wave, I'm going to turn the camera on you that way.
Oh, gonna drive her off.
I have portability. Come here, darling. Come here.
Here she is.
Iron Maiden!
Liz, the Iron Maiden, here in Spartanburg. It has been a fabulous week. Free energy is going to be one of my favorites to listen to you talk about, because if you go in and take it back to the beginning and say, like, why would they make it a globe? I'm going to go back to 101. Some of the reasons why would they make it a globe, and why are they lying? Why the lie? Why the lie? One of the lies I truly believe to my toes is, if we understood the way this place worked, if we really understood what it was, we would understand that it's a source of free energy and abundance, and huge abundance of energy in that to work with. And if you were the creator and you created this land of abundance, and if you did want to do true evil, if true evil wanted to take over it, what would you do? You would hide it. You would make you rape the land. You would make literally ruin the land. And look what we do to get the energy we do. We destroy, we drain the blood, we do the things to get it. Destroy Mother Earth to get what's like so given freely and again abundant and out there, in order to control and make money off of it and profit. And that, I mean, that's true evil. Not only is it like creating the different levels of, again, you'll always have your high and your low and your different equalities in that, but again, there would be abundance. There would be huge abundance. There's no reason there isn't, other than control. And then on the other dark side, if you really do understand how it works, you could say that when you understand how it works, you can destroy it or reproduce it. So, there's a balance, but there are reasons to hide it, but it's there. The energy is there.
Yeah,
and
free energy is real. It's real. It's not just some kooky idea. Every time you think about like hydroelectricity, when you've got the like, I think it's the Hoover Dam, right? They've got all this hydroelectricity that's just pumping energy off of what Earth is already doing.
Mm-hmm.
And so people are just finding more and more ways to tap into that kind of stuff, just finding out, okay, well, this is already happening, so I'm just going to start collecting energy off of that. And yeah, one way after another. It just kind of, it's really shocking just how much we kind of go for the least economic paths to collect energy, the most damaging to the environment, when there's the clean energy right there.
Yeah.
Exactly. While doing that, I was trying to focus and get the water. It's weird from my view. Interesting the way the camera works on this. But yes, I have a dam there that could be producing free energy right down at the bottom, closer than it. You see the white in the stream is the dam flowing over. We could have hydro. It's right there, right there. Nobody
Yeah,
can see
Bob
it.
and I
But
have
yeah,
talked about it.
Every house in America,
we
just in
talked
the
about
world,
it.
every
Yeah.
house in the world could have hydroelectricity just built into their pipes. Come on.
Mm-hmm.
There's a bunch of videos on YouTube of dudes building little mini hydro dams.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you guys have ever seen that, but
Yeah. Oh yeah. They have some really. Bob was looking into getting one, but it was like a specific setup that was more like on the edge of the water instead of, like pouring water. You just kind of set this thing like next to a river and allowed water to come into it and fall down, and then it would just flush the water out through the bottom, like through a pipe back into the river. So it was pretty much just, it created its own little waterfall and would turn a hydro
Yeah.
generator.
Just
Yeah, it
imagine
was
like
that simple.
in your drains, every drain in your house is collecting, harvesting energy. Every faucet you turn on, instead of charging you money for running the water, now you're getting electricity off of it, kind of going off the grid there. And yeah, there's so many ways to go off grid that, yeah, people, but they don't want you to go off grid. That's kind of a fact. They want you to live like in the system and be integrated.
Renaud Popart, I apologize if I butchered your name there, but he says Rick Friedrich on YouTube. Friedrich is his reference to understanding free energy via EMF, resonance, ether perturbation, etc. Says the guy is boring, but his content is relevant. I will definitely check that out. Thank you, sir.
Well, I can't say that they always want you, because sometimes they do actually want you to go off grid because of the whole. There are certain places where you can still go be a frontiersman, and they have like dirt cheap land out in the middle of nowhere, like dirt cheap.
Alaska, yeah, you can get all kinds of stuff out in Alaska for real cheap.
Yeah, but the hard is you've got to go and cultivate the land and actually make a
Yeah,
living.
that's hard living
They want
up
you to
there,
do.
man. That's hard
So,
living.
yeah, but this kind of skills, if you can go do that, you can go out there and get the dirt cheap land. But my problem is I like the people. I like having people around me. There's kind of a sense of security, even though that like people are dangerous in some ways, but at the same time, like there's sense of security there too. So it's
Yeah,
kind of
there's a lot more good
double-edged
people, I
sword.
think, than bad people. So when you're
Yeah.
around people, my mom always wanted to live in a neighborhood. She didn't even like it when they moved out to the country and there was somebody that was like a football field away. That freaked her out. Like that was too far for someone to be, just in case. I never understood that. I like having room and space and being away from people myself.
Neighbors, you always complain about them, but at the same time, like sometimes you like having people to complain about.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
Karen Land has it perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Karen Land is the perfect balance that if something happened, you could get to a neighbor for an emergency, if God forbid that. But when you're at her house, in her driveway, in her yard, you see no one. I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
As I look over at my next door neighbors onto their deck, yeah, I like my backyard, but I'd like a little bit more side to side space.
Yeah, and yet
We
they're
have
still
good
arm's reach to the point that you can still complain about their dogs.
Yeah. And thankfully, again, we are blessed with the best of neighbors, and so I can't complain about that. It could be ugly, but it's not because we're beautiful people. But yeah, Well, should we do the show?
Yeah, let's get into
Yeah.
this. So we're going to start off with a Tech Central. This is more of a hit piece on this guy, right? Zimbabwe government duped by radio wave invention. So this is saying that the Zimbabwean officials have backtracked on their show of support for this inventor. Yada, 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 right? And this was from February 3rd, 2025. I'll drop the link in the chat for you all if you'd like to go through and read this. You know, claimed the groundbreaking invention uses radio waves to power, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, the president praised him as a brilliant inventor whose invention has never been seen before anywhere in the world, making it a first of its kind, said the government post. And then they said that the government went through and took down, well, he wants to make a car that runs off. We'll get into it. Only costs 14 grand to manufacture, and it doesn't use any fuel whatsoever. It's pretty amazing if it's real. So yeah, this is more or less the hit piece of this guy. Now I remember covering this guy a couple years ago about a TV that just had a little box on the back of it, and there was no plug that actually went into the TV, and it was using this technology to run the TV. He could turn it on, turn it off, you know, lift the TV up, no wires, no nothing like that. And I was like, that's interesting. That was a few years ago. And I was like, we'll see if this turns into anything. And apparently there's been people who have put some serious money into this. When we take a look at some of the things that have been built with this technology in mind, I mean, it's obvious people are, you know, they're convinced that this works enough to be dishing out a whole lot of money to be building the stuff that this guy's building. So that was the Tech Central. If you guys know anything about magazines and who owns the magazine companies and all that kind of stuff, they don't want anything to do with free energy. They will poo-poo anything like that. The guy who built the car that runs on water, the Geet engine, they all poo-poo this stuff and say that it's, you know, hocus pocus nonsense. Because the people who own these magazine companies and whatnot are the billionaires that own the oil companies and this and that. And they're already making, you know, this would make them lose money. So here is the Lion Herald. And this is May 22nd of 2025. So much more, well, not much more, 5 months more recent. So remember, we saw government duped by radio wave energy invention. That was back in February. Finally unveils groundbreaking fuel-free car alongside the president, Emerson. I'm going to butcher that if I try to say that. The president of Zimbabwe.
Looks like Managawa.
I'll take your word on that.
Managagwa. There we go.
Managagwa. So they're going to launch the safe EV electric vehicle on February 10th. An autonomous 220 kilometer an hour car with unlimited range. He developed it with Chinese partners, costing around $14,000 per unit, with plans for local production. The president calls it a world first. So I guess, see, now they say that they had these things up on X and then took them down. I never went to go check. I should have. But so I'm not calling these people liars. Maybe there was, like, you know, something where people were saying, maybe this isn't so real. But then you see him standing here with the guy in front of the bike talking about it. A microsonic energy device back in 2009. It captures radio frequencies and converts them into usable power. Again, this isn't something unheard
Noise,
of.
because sonic, microsonic, and so it's kind of like noise.
It draws energy from the air using radio waves. Could render gasoline engines and lithium-ion batteries obsolete. So that's why I think, at least in my opinion, we see articles like this.
Oh yeah, big business isn't going to like that. They make too much money off of lithium, and oh yeah, those lithium batteries are pricey. Like, you damage that, you've totaled your car, right?
Mm-hmm. So it looks like he was denied a patent on the basis that it violates natural laws of physics.
Wonder what laws of physics it's violating, because we just had this big discussion about the laws of physics and about how they're wrong. And yet, when they start to acknowledge those kinds of things, all of a sudden, boom, there's a big invention right here.
Mm-hmm.
What laws of physics are they violating?
Yeah, I'm not sure. So unlike electric, it supposedly has unlimited range. Unlike electric cars that need recharging, these vehicles purportedly never run out of power.
I think that would be like a conservation
Crazy
of
claim.
energy. Maybe.
I kind of have to say I don't believe this.
I know.
That's okay.
It's
That's okay.
really hard for me to believe too.
I kind of don't believe it, because say it is using radio frequencies. Well, don't you have to be near a radio tower that's emitting radio frequencies? So if you get out of range of a radio tower, do you not lose power?
Well,
Let's
that's
think
why I
about,
was
like,
wondering
AM
if you're
radio.
talking about the Earth's radio frequencies, like the Schumann resonance. I was wondering
Didn't
maybe
you
it's
say
tapping
that
into
you
something
have
like
to
that.
remember, weren't you talking about how you
Thousands of
thousands
miles of
like miles and miles and miles of copper wire wound up to even amplify it enough to be usable?
yeah, that's what I said. I
Yeah.
might have been wrong.
Oh, we love you, Karen. You're not a yes woman. You're not
Yeah, I
afraid
don't
to
know.
talk too much.
I'm
Well,
not sure if it's the radio waves putting out from the things or just the stuff that naturally happens on Earth. I'm not really sure. I'm assuming it's the radio waves from the towers. That's what I would assume.
I mean, that's what I would assume too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard of people being able to power light bulbs by pointing antenna at a tower and being able to collect the radio waves off of the tower and converting that into electricity. I've heard of that before. There was an explainer video that was talking about how to do that, but I never quite implemented it. But that's like on my bucket list. I want to be able to effectively do that. Be able to just light a light bulb from radio waves.
So it says that he did come to the United States and visited Silicon Valley. He and his research partner were poisoned, allegedly. An event he believes was orchestrated by powerful interest in the oil and automotive industries. We were poisoned, in quotation. My partner didn't make it. He died in January of 2017. But by the grace of God, I survived. It's wild, if true,
So,
you know.
this is one of those things where I like to
Or
pull out
did
the
they have
magnifying
bad
glass.
time?
They would be
My partner, what was his name? Like, when it comes to
but there should be documentation of it, right? If the guy died, then they would
Yeah,
do it.
we should be able to look this up and see.
And they would be like, oh yes, we found poison in his system or whatever, you know.
And was it poison? Was it, did he death cap? Did he eat a bad mushroom, or what kind of poison was it? Was it fentanyl? What was the poison?
Yeah, I don't know.
The full story. And that's just, it's kind of a quick info. It's not telling you all the deep details. But if I wanted to really validate this as a legit thing, I want to know like the name of the person who died, and that way I could pull out the magnifying glass and verify all the fine details. The more fine details I'm able to verify, the more convincing it's going to be.
Yeah, that's why I always say things like "if it's true," you know,
It
because
should
I
always
don't
be if
know.
it's.
This
And
is
again, if
a
it's
writing in a
truly-
newspaper article. I don't know if any of this is true or not.
You know, a lot of the stuff they publish is not true, but again, I think they try to bury the real stuff in the nonsense. I really think that's
Well, here's
part
a
of it
guy's
too.
name though, Foster Gamble. supposedly
But,
went there in 2018 to
I know.
verify the authenticity.
Do you know who
After
Foster
weeks,
Campbell is?
no,
He's part of the Procter and Gamble things. He also came up and funded the movie on was it What the Bleep, or he
Thrive,
supposedly went
the
new age, and
documentary Thrive.
that he did other things. He was working with Nassim Haram, and I mean, that also you kind of look at is he really part of the family that went good, or is this controlled because Nassim's going in a meaningless operation or what? It's interesting. But yeah, I wonder
Well,
with Procter or with
according
Campbell.
to, I got to go watch it.
Hmm.
But it says Thrive 2. He went there for weeks and tested it, him and his team, and he confirmed the 500 kilowatt that the generator functioned as claimed. And they have it supposedly. I'll have to go check this out. Thrive 2, a film released on September 26, 2020.
Hmm.
So the the Procter and Gamble guy verifies this. He's kind of giving his testimony.
And also he's done again, he's been behind was it What the Bleep? I think it was What the Bleep, or it was one that might not be the right one. I'm trying to think of one of the movies that came out in that time frame. It was the second edition. It was the second edition of it. Again, it featured Nassim Harriman and the different works on it. But you wonder again with the Procter Gamble family and him, is he really an elite person that is giving up everything to provide this? Or I've always been distrustful of this particular person, but it's probably unfair. I don't know. Maybe he really is a great person doing humanitarian. I'm like, I have my doubts about Bill Gates being humanitarian, getting rid of all of his millions of dollars, divesting over the next 20 years to do healthcare for the world.
Yeah,
Yeah,
scary,
right. Right.
scary.
That's kind of Proctor, because of his background, I kind of like feel like, but again, it could be very, very legitimate, and I could just be being I don't know. I don't know.
See, when it comes
Tell
to
you,
like healthcare products with Procter and Gamble, why is he interested in all this? Unless he's like, yeah, it doesn't seem
well,
like
he's
the automotive industry is quite his field of quite his
no,
forte.
he supposedly did not want the business. He wants good for all mankind. He supposedly is a wants to take the
Philanthropist.
good path. So yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to check out a video here. This is from Africa Today. This was the video I saw that where I saw this car. And it reminded, because I believe it brings up the television. We'll see the television set too. This is what I saw a few years ago. And I've been waiting to hear more about it. We'll see what happens. But yeah, Africa Today, fair use, all that kind of stuff.
What if I told you that everything you know about energy is about
Now, was that
Sounds like
Zimbabwe
Dr.
right
Z.
there?
Or Decimal Z. Decimal Z.
That just looks like a pretty city.
Yeah.
Look at all the traffic, though. But yeah, very like modern, Look at even some of the buildings.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Sounds like Chinese traffic.
It's just so weird to me because when I was growing up, like I didn't know anything like this in Africa existed. Everything that I was shown as a child was like either safari with lions and, giraffes and hippos and stuff, and then people with sticks and loincloths hunting them, like Zulu and stuff like that.
Shaka Zulu.
Yeah.
Like,
in all the movies,
that's crazy too. That movie.
but yeah, everything I was shown, and it's funny because when people would come see Cammie in Denver, what would they say, Cammie? She might not.
Have to hit it on again. Say that again.
When you were in Denver, and I mean, did you hear what I said before that? Well, people would
and
ask,
head out.
where are the wagons and the horses?
Oh yes, yeah. They're like, where are the wagons and the horses that come to
It was the
Colorado from different countries?
1980s, and
And
they
it's like,
thought that
no,
we were still using horse and buggies and stuff
like the Westerns, they thought
because
it was
like
going
the
to be the
Western
Wild
stuff they
West.
saw.
Hmm.
Yeah, they thought Denver was the Wild West in the 1980s. That's what they were shown over there, you know?
Hmm.
That's what how they believed it was still. Yeah, it's crazy. So, yeah, I
So
had no idea any of this existed when I was younger in Africa. Like, you know, I thought it was like it was on the TV.
if you
What if I
want
told you that
if you want to blow your mind, go back to there's a whole set of 1950s documentaries where they put together children, high school kids from in conferences from all of the different countries. And so you'll have high school students from Ethiopia talking to Zimbabwe, talking to again where they're talking about making the country of Israel and the different, the new countries. You have them all talking politics and talking all kinds of topics, racism and who hates who and what. And these children are smarter than we are. And again, again, just the level of talking, how coherent they were in the 50s and 60s, and we think we're so much smarter. They're having the same discussions and they were having them a lot deeper. I recommend everybody go back and look at some of the old stuff if you think that we've really progressed. Go ahead. I'll be quiet now. I'll put back on mute.
Okay.
everything you know about energy is about to change? Imagine never having to stop for gas again, never having to charge your car, never having to worry about fuel prices. Sounds impossible, right? That's exactly what they said about the Wright brothers, about Tesla, about every breakthrough that changed the world.
You guys want me
On
to leave
February
closed
10th,
captions on?
2025, something happened in Zimbabwe
It's
that
fine.
made the impossible possible. Zimbabwean innovator Maxwell Chikumbutso finally launched his vehicle on the 10th of February 2025. Now, though I made a video about this last week, many people came into the comment section and were like very skeptical. Some people say that this technology doesn't really make sense and they are not really sure that it's going to come live. But then Chikumbutso had already made a launch date on the 10th, and that day seems to be Judgment Day, that everybody is actually waiting for it. Finally, we have come to the D-Day.
You've just given us. We saw a very interesting technological thing that you've been offering here, but many people are still in doubt. What is the source and how reliable is this, and is this going to be able to sustain for years?
But I think you've seen like the guys who came from Israel. We've got guys who came from Switzerland. These are the guys I've been working with 4 years. They have tested it. Some of them, they've bought my products before, like Emmanuel. Emmanuel, I think he bought 2 machines for himself. Right now, he bought a car. Right now, he bought a motorbike, which he's taking with him. So it's all about the proof of the pudding. He tested it. That's why he came. Operation. And whoever who wants a machine can now get it. We've got our distributor here in Zimbabwe who is going to be handling all the sales in Zimbabwe.
The streets of Harare erupted with celebrations. Social media exploded with the launch of this marvelous.
The cars that if you go to Kaya right now, all their cars, you have to plug in either a DC charging station or an AC charging station. Our car is the first car. This is a generator. I think if you can go to the fridge, you can see he's going to plug in and you will see that the fridge is going to be powered by a car. Like I said, you can buy a car. You don't need to have a generator at your home. You use your car.
I don't know. See, we know that the energy is up in the air, right? But it's not like in vast
There's
amounts.
something up there to get it though.
Yeah, here on the ground, it's not really that strong of a charge. Like Karen said, you got to go up into the sky to get the stronger voltage. But that's the electric field. What he's talking about doing, he says that he amplifies a radio frequency somehow. Once he gathers it, he somehow amplifies it and then gathers the energy off that. Now he's going to explain right here that he's making sure this technology isn't getting out. There supposedly are explosive devices in the car.
Explosive? They can't do that.
That's what he says.
Well, when I watched his video, when I watched it, he said that there was a bunch of wires, and if you mess with 5 of the wires, it destroys the whole system.
Yeah, that's for the software. But the
like micro
hardware, yeah, you'll see. He should say it right around here.
That's the car.
So is the microsonic device?
What we've done, like we said, the microsonic energy device is the invention that we have done, and we are trying to protect it. We have embedded it in the vehicle. Okay. Yes, and it has got a self-destructive technology. On the 150 wires on this car, if you try to tamper 5 of them, we will classify. You destroy the microsonic energy device, both on the software and the hardware. That's how we are protecting the technology, because we couldn't get a patent.
So more like
yes, it's
I don't think he's talking about like Michael Bay explosives. Just everything. Wipe out a whole block. Zach, you're on mute.
Sorry. Yeah, I think he'll go on to explain even more that it's a small self-contained thing that, isn't going to hurt anybody. It's just going to destroy the hardware components inside. It's not going to, blow up and like have a blast radius or anything like that. It's a very self-contained explosion, So yeah, this is so hard to believe. Like if you start mass producing them, you can't do that, right? You can't you put an explosive in your vehicle. I mean, that's just crazy.
It's on right now. It's on.
Oh, yes. So there are no mechanical, there are no like moving parts.
The only moving part that you will see on this car.
Some bottles there. It looks like windshield wiper fluid and some other kind of lubricants, maybe.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know. I have no clue.
It's on. It's on right now. It's on.
Oh, yes. So there are no mechanical.
So he says it's on. And now he's going to say that there are no moving parts.
There are no like moving parts.
The only moving part that you will see on this car is a reduction gearbox. But you don't have to maintain it to service.
The generator doesn't.
The induction gearbox is the only moving part. So the actual generator has no moving parts to it, it says. You'll never need to maintain it as far as friction and things like that.
So that's not going to need any lube. That lube is going to be in the gears that are going to cause the rotation of the tires and stuff.
I'm having a real hard time buying this. I just am. But like I said, you can see people have put some serious money into this kind of stuff. And this isn't the car isn't the biggest thing either. There's bigger things that they've made than the car.
I mean, how come we don't see the car drive around?
I know.
It's right there.
I know. I'd like to see him jump in it and take off.
Right? Like, why are we not watching it go around a track?
I know. I have so many doubts about this.
There's so many ways to scam the government. I'm thinking about NASA itself and look, we got this big technology. We want your money. And then all of a sudden, the moment they get your money, then they run off and, disappear. Leave the country. So, yeah, it could be a huge, another NASA type operation, but who knows really?
The generator doesn't have any moving parts. Usually those type of devices are known as 0-point energy. So you cannot even maintain it, you cannot service it because there's no friction that is happening.
Wow.
In working on ways on how to protect the technology in the event that we use it. For example, we go in a country, we will set up a power station, there's a hostile takeover. How do you protect our technology? That's why we took the trade secret route our patent is kept, our design is kept, the recipe is kept in 3 countries, and the people who are keeping it, they don't even know each other. The second thing, we try to protect the hardware side, because if the engineer remove like a second board, you can trace, you can see that this is a rectifier, this is a microchip. So we put a small amount of a detonator to say, but that cannot harm anyone. But if you just try to tamper with it, you blow it. That's part of the second board. Also on the software, if someone can have the source code, he can try to do reverse engineering. So we work on an algorithm that if you tamper with certain wires on the vehicle, you are going to destroy the microsonic energy device.
I think the big deal about this is how much publicity it's getting, because you've seen so many times in the past with, American, this car runs on water, that kind of stuff, those big claims, but they don't have this kind of massive publicity throughout the entire nation, basically. Like, this seems international news, right? But a lot of the other stuff that we've heard here in the US, it's like it's all swept under the rug. You hear about it years later after the fact, and it never made this kind of publicity before, at least not that I'm aware of.
Yeah, no, not a president. I haven't heard of a president of a country coming out and supporting somebody with a free energy device or anything like that. No, this is different, it seems. I
think it gives it some
having
credence.
trouble. Chilster is saying they've been testing it for 2 years in London. Now, I'm not sure. Oh, the thunderstorm generator. Okay, that's what he's talking about. Yeah, so this guy, see, again, that makes me wonder if this would even work, right? If this is real. If you have something in there that you try to see how it works, it's going to destroy itself. I mean, I get protecting your technology and this and that, but at the same time, it's like, are you just lying?
Yeah.
I know. Like, don't touch it, it will blow up.
Yeah. So,
Like, I don't know. It's just so cheesy.
I mean, I'm waiting for this technology to come out, something like this.
Well, in another video I was watching, he's like, we'll drive the car to Cairo in front of everybody. And this was like months ago. I mean, allegedly he's had it. They've had it since 2018, 2019. So where's the road trip?
A whole lot of those
Where's the car driving at all?
Mm-hmm. That thing should have been live streamed, right?
Yeah.
You would think.
Or even part of these videos.
You cannot tamper with it. If you tamper with it, then you lose your investment.
Question: what would be the market price?
So which products do you have on the market? Are the batteries on the market?
The greener power grid machines are on the market, the TVs are on the market, the bikes are on the market, the cars as well.
What market?
When people say
made bikes, that'd be cool.
Hypersonic technology can't be proven. What do you say to that?
Thank you very much, because we did not find ways of protecting the IP, like I said.
Those e-bikes are raving all over the place around here. Everyone wants one. I wonder about that with.
So we drive our car to Cairo, live on TV. Everyone watches it. That would be enough. And right now we're doing this because we are now on the commercial level. So I understand what you're saying very well. And also the other thing, my brother, that I want to tell you.
He explains that the energy used in his innovation is called microsonic energy. Now, this energy is found in the air, just like many other energies like radiation energy. But then the energy is very minimal. With current technologies, energy from this sphere, from radio waves, can be extracted and used, but it is going to be very minimal and not really.
I wonder if that's a false trail. Like, when it's so secretive, you can definitely throw out all these kind of red herrings to take you off the trail and make you look in the wrong places. So there's so many other explanations that could be there to it. It's kind of a cool one to think about, but I just wonder, like, how much of this is truthful when it comes to like how it's made.
Yeah.
It's hard to
Well,
verify that stuff when it's all.
I have no doubt that it's possible to grab these radio waves. You know, there's so many videos of people on YouTube doing it now, just
Mhm.
backyard tinkerers, but they're not producing enough power to run a car or something,
Yeah.
you know, something like
500
that.
kilowatts.
Yeah, that's a lot of power. That's a
Yeah.
lot of power to just be
Exactly.
pulling out of the air from the ground. It's very hard for me to believe. It's awesome if it's true. If there's some kind of way to, you know,
It
collect a
would be
small
great.
radio wave and then amplify it, you know, thousands of times,
I
that'd be
mean,
amazing. But
the article says it costs $14,000 to get the conversion kit or whatever, and you can turn any car into this. So what's up? Why isn't this guy making all kinds of money? Because if this was real tech, I'm sure a lot of people would pay a relatively small amount, $14,000 for a car that doesn't use gas and doesn't run out of power. Like,
you
are
could
you
plug
kidding
your
me?
house into.
Yeah.
I would
I mean,
like to see
you buy
enough
house
power to
generators. Like, you could spend that kind of money on generators for your house, like automatic backup generators that
Mhm.
sit in the back, you know, that are ready to go.
Yeah, I'd
Ask
like to see
people
this on
with
the small scale first. I want to see my TV. I want to see a TV that you don't have to plug into the wall and it just runs on its own. You know, if you can do it with a car, why not a TV
Yeah.
or a radio? Just a
The one
radio
thing,
that
like
sits
like
there.
Kyle was saying earlier, though, I've never seen any type of device like this that was supported by a president and saying we're going to start mass producing
Yeah,
these things.
yeah.
That's kind of unheard of, you know. So I don't know. It's one of those things that I don't believe it, but I want to. You know,
Yes.
But
I
look what our
want it to
government
be
is.
true.
I do
Maybe the
too.
president wanted to believe it too.
Yeah, that could very well be. Yeah.
Look
Just
what we
one
put
way
our
to get
money into,
somebody
though. We put
funded.
our money into the lithium batteries and that, like the Teslas. That again, when your battery goes and it can go after the first year, people are spending how much for new batteries for their car? 40,000 on some, 20,000 on some, just for nothing else for it. So again, where we're putting the money doesn't seem the brightest. It seems better. It's hopeful, but it
I would
doesn't.
love it
Again,
if
why
it's
isn't
true.
anything running? It'd be lovely. Yeah.
We'll see. That's all I can say is, well, time isn't really going to tell you if something like this is true or not. Because if there was something like this, right? Let's say that it is true. Everything that this guy says is true. There are going to be people out there that are going to try and stop this from being put out to the public. For sure, 100%. I have no doubt in my mind. There's going to be very powerful people out there that will want this man dead and this technology put on a shelf somewhere. So yeah, it's a great story. I'll give it that. It's a neat story. We'll see what happens. Um, yeah, it's one of those things I want to be true, but I have so much trouble believing this for the simple fact that he won't tell you how he does it. You know,
Magic trick.
If something
Um,
works,
By the way, I found
There
that Thrive 2 video on YouTube and I put a link to it in the private chat, and you should read the description of what it says.
is it pretty bad?
Can you share it with us? Go ahead and share, Karen. Do share.
Here, I'll pull it up. Oh, we don't need that. We want to read the
And it was
description.
Zeitgeist. Somebody put in the chat. It was Zeitgeist that I was talking about. That was the movie I was trying to put my finger on.
Okay, so it says, now available for free. Thrive 2 explores breakthrough innovations from around the world, unpacks the principles they have in common, and offers insights, tools, and strategies for reclaiming our lives and our future. While we do vouch for the efficacy of the technology that we vetted as seen in Thrive 2, Foster Gamble and Clear Compass Media make no claims about the ongoing technical efficacy or the business reliability of Safe Group or any other inventors. We are not involved in their business dealings and are not responsible for any contractual outcomes.
Keep going.
Safe Group, as of June 2021, is seriously delinquent on delivery of devices internationally. Therefore, we recommend the potential customers and licenses wait on the commitment of resources until there's evidence that these prior orders are fulfilled. We will update this page, and if and when we hear that he has successfully fulfilled on his current obligations. Yeah, that's not a very good
I know.
endorsement.
It kind of gets me thinking about the light bulb, though. Like, Thomas Edison wasn't the inventor of the light bulb. He's just the one to mass produce the light bulb.
Although that is a video made by, like Cammie pointed out, by the Foster Gamble of Procter and Gamble. And actually, if you look at who directed it, it's like Kimberly something Gamble directed it. So it's like they're all over that
They're all
movie.
over it.
Right there, yeah.
They're all over it. Yeah, the different ones too. We
But
found
still,
it.
if the tech is real, we should see more. We should see it working.
Yeah, I'm very skeptical about not.
Unless they're
like you
really
said, we're going to drive it
tampering with
live
the
on TV.
process.
Where's that footage of them driving it live to Cairo?
Mhm.
Said you were going to do it. That was February 10th when he said that. Here we are on the 22nd of May. Yeah. Let's see. He's going to get into the TV. This is what I saw a couple years ago.
Using radio energy to power devices.
And
We had done this several years ago.
I had trouble with this when I heard it. It's like, how are you getting that much power out of this? What are you doing? And they didn't even go into, like, he didn't explain to it at all that they're amplifying it or this or that. I have a hard time believing this. But I mean, if you tried to explain Tesla's electric motor to me, I would call you a nut job. What, you're saying those copper things and me just spinning this magnet in here is doing? Get out of here. So I don't know. Maybe he figured something out. We'll see. We'll see what comes of all this.
Powering a TV set.
This is our self-powered TV that we have designed. The first in the world to have such kind of a technology where a television is powered with a radio frequency. So as you can see right now, I'm powering this television. So this is the first television in the world that uses self-power to say.
Here's what I was talking about.
You don't need to put it on electricity or on solar panel or anything. As it is a complete solution. Behind the television, you can see that there is a microsonic energy device, this box. This is the device that is converting radio frequencies into pure energy. As you can see, the power of the cable was supposed to be here. On all traditional televisions, power comes here, but there's no power, as you can see. The television is working as it is. So in layman, I think this television is we can call it a self-powered television.
The streets of Harare, Zimbabwe's capital, erupted with celebrations, and social media exploded with reactions. The energy companies went quiet. Now, I can already hear some of you typing, but is this not made in China? Well, let me ask you something. Where is your iPhone made?
Yeah, there we go. I want to see mass-produced iPhones or just phones in general that don't require any charger.
Yeah.
Just get rid of the batteries altogether. You never need a charger again. That would change everything.
And he just goes on to talk a little bit more. And then I found this one. This is Age of Discovery. And they went to go check out all this stuff. They actually went to visit them. And it's a quick little 3-minute video. But he talks about having enough to power a helicopter. I just find all this very hard to believe.
Yeah,
But
let's see the small devices get mass-produced first.
Yeah. Or I just want to see it work. It doesn't even need to be mass-produced. I would like to, go tinker around with it, take a look, and then see it actually work. See it drive for 500 miles without needing anything. Until that happens, I'm not buying it.
Ran on radio frequencies, a true free energy device that keeps batteries consistently charged. It took me several months to find him, but when I did, it blew my mind.
I knew it would be complicated because these things always are. Going to Zimbabwe, the Ethiopian airline that we had tickets with had just had a major crash, and a cyclone had just ravaged the area, leaving hundreds dead.
Well, we're sitting in a hotel in Harare, Zimbabwe this morning. We're here today to start the vetting process and find out,
Like a
okay,
beautiful
what's real.
country.
Over 95% of the time, these things aren't what they claim to be. This time we took engineer Nils Rognerud to assist with the vetting. When Nils and I arrived and met Maxwell, I was very impressed with just what a gentle, true-seeming soul he was. And then the next morning, we went to see the device, and he gave us a full tour. I was practically ecstatic. It was such a beautiful, elegant device.
Now, what's it? Saith. Okay. I want to look this up.
Saith, like, so saith the Lord.
Yeah. Okay.
We're looking at is called the green power off-grid machine. It is 0.5 megawatt, and we are relying with the radio frequency. We harness the radio frequency, convert it into pure energy that is useful. It is called a microsonic energy device. A microsonic energy device, it is the generator in this machine.
For people who are not familiar with this, 0.5 megawatt, how much will that power in terms of a house or a community or what?
We're talking of about 300 standard house homes, yeah.
Okay.
That you can power with one machine.
So there's no oil burning, there's no fires going on or anything. So where's the energy coming from?
We're harnessing it straight away from the natural energy that God has just put in the on our earth. Yeah, the radio frequency.
So nothing unusual, but the main point is that a meter away, there's no frequencies being transmitted from a microwave tower next to the park we're standing in.
It's a poignant day for us here. And amidst the excitement of seeing this for the first time, a couple of strangers showed up on the site where we were being shown these devices. And Maxwell, the inventor, took us aside as soon as he could and said, these guys are from the government, and I didn't know they were coming. Unfortunately, we're truly concerned about this gentleman, and we're just going to take every precaution that we can to keep ourselves safe, to keep him safe, and to keep this knowledge safe.
The microphone.
Wakanda forever!
Oh, okay. Let's see. Drone, Saith Motors. I'm just taking a look at their website here. When I click into it, the website's really not, there's not much to it at all. A subsidiary of Saith Holdings. Like this one won't even let me get into it. This one, when I click on it, the TV, I wanted to see if there was prices or anything like that. It just says this is owned and operated by Saith Technologies, and that's it on the page. I can't go up or down. It's got contact us, sales, Saith Motors. Okay, that one actually goes into a little bit of something. 10 horsepower,
10 horsepower.
90 kilometers an hour.
That's not very much.
No. Then a UAV drone.
Motorcycle, that'd be cool.
I just want to see one of the TVs. I would like to actually see one and, you know, make sure there's no cords or nothing like that and let it run all day long. Until I
so
get
many ideas, but
do
you
something
just
like
gotta
that.
take one and get that one to launch. Like there's so many different ways, and what are they waiting for at this point?
But yeah, stuff this big, you know, all this equipment in here, all this hardware, that's not cheap.
I mean, it just looks like they could be regular generators.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I have a real hard time believing this, but this would be one of those Tesla motors, you know, the wheel. the light bulb, things like that changed human
Mhm.
lives forever.
I
It's
know the
more
light bulb.
believable than the stuff that NASA claims, though. I'll give them
That's
that
true.
much.
I mean, the light bulb we really figured out, and we did good with it until we put regulations that said that they can only burn for so many hours or we'll fine you big time. I mean, there's still light bulbs running for hundreds of years. We can create some really good technology, but when it's not financially sustainable, that again, you build a factory to build the light bulbs, once everybody has them, if they don't wear out, you don't need new ones.
That's a
Then what are you going to? Yeah,
conspiracy
it's a
fact.
problem. It's a
Conspiracy fact.
conspiracy fact. It's a conspiracy
Yeah.
fact. You have to have it. I was reading even on the
Planned
vaccines and things
obsolescence.
early on. Again, making it you can't. You have to have planned obsolescence, and they get caught doing it over and over again in evil ways. They get caught doing it on your copy machines where your ink will run out at a certain. Again, they trigger these things in, and they get busted for their planned obsolescence to make you go out and get more. So it's like, would you get the things, but with the new no moving parts, well, you have to build the parts in the first time, and when you make the dies to buy in the first time, you want to use them over and over and over again. And again, they get into that. Well, we need this stuff to break to keep our factory up and going. So
Yeah, there's too many conspiracy facts to make it to see it actually getting implemented. It's a very, very slow process. At least it used to be really fast, and then it just slowed down tremendously.
All right, I'm gonna let her finish this out here, and we'll wrap it up.
that's Kimberly, by the way. I recognize her.
That he had with one of the officials. So we quickly got the tape translated and found out that the government official was promising Maxwell a power purchase agreement where the government would pay him for generating energy for the country. It was good corroboration that they believed he had what he claimed, although Maxwell didn't trust him because the government had already put him in prison in an effort to steal his technology.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll drop this link in there if you guys want to go watch. I think there's a, let's see, down in the description. What did it say? Oh, no, it just says thriveon.com. You can see the full film of them
The
going.
guy
and
looks
checking
pretty
it out.
young.
Yeah, he's in his mid-40s. I think he's 44.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I don't know. I have a real hard time believing it. But like I said, if you were to tell me that the electric motor, you tried to explain that to me, I would be like, I don't buy it. It's not going to produce power like that.
I'd prefer to believe in that than the Mars rover.
Yeah.
That's a lot more verifiable than the Mars rover is by far.
Free energy anyway. It's we can harvest energy and do that, but I don't know if there's a such thing as a free, that no matter what, you'll have to put work into harvesting and again, ways to get it out. But I do believe that we are doing it in ways that are way, way more destructive than they have to be in order to meter and control. And I think intentionally rape the land. I really do. Wish we could get our brilliant minds on these, and a lot of people are going. They're mentioning a lot of good ones in the chat. I've been familiar with almost Bob has followed people dropping in the chat about Reardon, and that Bob followed, and I watched all the different tech. I let him do the free energy. He was so brilliant. He was so brilliant that I never even tried to wrap my head around it, because he was my filter. He was my reality filter. He would immediately call out, "This is bullshit," or "No, this could work because it has potential." And it's nice having a filter where you don't where you have a complete lack of real understanding on how it's happening. It's really nice to be sitting next to somebody that has no filter and a good call out for bullshit, and can sit here at these things and really pull out what can work and why. And Like if it really is running on radio waves and the amplifiers, even my son Jaron would be able to say, well, how many would it need to pull to get it? And that, and like I saw the little thing on the back, and my immediate thoughts were that's a little battery pack that they're running the TV on a battery pack and calling in an accelerator, and they can do a demo. How long can they go a demo? Call me a skeptic. I don't know. But I believe it's out there. It's finding it, and I believe that they intentionally muddy the waters
Mm-hmm.
to muddy the real
Yeah,
ones
the
out
fact
there.
that there's a president backing it, it's shocking. I've never seen anything like that before. I mean, Tesla, right? He claimed he could do this back in the day, sending energy
Mm-hmm.
wirelessly through the air,
Mm-hmm.
and they shut him down. And the only reason is because they wouldn't be able to put a meter on it, right?
Right.
On how much energy the people are actually using. Yeah, so we'll see. Yeah, I want Andrew to check out these videos. I'll probably talk to him in the morning. But he's saying he has a theory about how to create over unity for semi-free energy. Yeah, I believe it's definitely possible, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Tesla was demonstrating it again. I think going back to Tesla's work, we never did make it to his museum. Out of all the people we looked at, going back to Tesla, he had again some of the most brilliant ideas and handbooks and that were again not really widely published. Again, I think
Yep.
we've gotten stupider. Sorry, that's just me.
Well, alrighty, that's gonna do it for this evening's show. Again, major question mark at the end of that free energy. Yeah, time will tell. We'll see what happens with this. I don't know. I don't comprehend it because he doesn't really explain how it's done at all.
Mm-mm.
And that's, I mean, if you want to change the world and this and that, then put it out, right? Give it to everybody. Do you want to change the world or do you want to become rich off of your idea?
I mean, isn't that what Tesla did? Can't anybody build a Tesla? It's just that nobody does.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because we don't understand it well enough, and it was discouraged, and they gave us a neat little grid to tell us that that's how they do it, and they tell us how dangerous electricity is. We are born fearing it. I mean, we are
Well,
just
what's his
seriously
name?
born.
Parker.
Parker, he is the best. Parker Edmondson.
He built one and supposedly sent energy like what, almost 900 miles. I think it was from
Mm-hmm.
Louisiana up to Chicagoland area,
Mm-hmm.
something like that, allegedly, right?
I believe him.
Yeah, I don't see him lying. He seems just like a too genuine of soul, but I don't know the person that
Too
he was in
nerdy.
contact with who built,
Yeah.
the receiver to pick up his energy he was putting out. So yeah, I believe a lot of this stuff can be done, whether or not,
Mm-hmm.
it's going to get, because it does take funding, right? It does take a lot of funding to do some of this, to build a Warden Cliff Tower. Not many people can just go out and, well, with my spare change, I'm going to go and build this huge, giant structure to test this out. But yeah, I know there's a lot of people that are messing with this type of technology now, though. Like I said, the last 5-10 years, I've been seeing more and more videos on YouTube of people being able to grab energy and convert it to DC energy from RF signals, just the radio waves coming out of, the radio towers. So it's definitely possible. Now, to be able to amplify it up, to be able to run a car indefinitely, I have a lot of trouble with that, like believing it. I hope for it. That'd be great. It'd be an awesome, upgrade in human life.
Yes, it
Just
would
free.
be.
Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see if this anything comes of it. But yeah, my BS meter is kind of going off the chart with this one, I must say. As much as I want it, I'm not going to hold my breath, we'll say. What's your take, Karen?
It would be really awesome if it was true. Like it'd be cool. I want it to be true too, but I just
Mhm.
I don't think so.
Mhm.
I know. I'm in that same boat with you. I need a lot more proof and
Oh,
evidence
yeah.
to
And I was
become.
looking at this guy's Twitter just
Mhm.
now, and there's not very much. It's like a tweet from 2022 that goes to Instagram to an account that's taken down, and then it's just there's just not much there. It's just not. It's just fluff, you know.
I had your, what do you call them, the spidey senses or whatever on the bullshit meter when everybody was gung ho when the zeitgeist was coming out. That he bothered me. He really, and I didn't know why. He and his wife, again, where you can't put your finger on it, but there's just something. To me, I just felt he was lying. I didn't feel he was genuine. I did not feel they. I don't feel they're genuine. I feel that they're actors playing a little part in a role is what I feel like their performances are. And I can't put my finger on what it is because he says all the right words. But it feels gross coming from him. And how do you like? I'm watching this, and as soon as that name came up, it's like, oh yeah, don't can't tell you why, but if I do want it to be true, and I don't know why, but I just have really bad feelings about most of the stuff he's involved with. I really feel it's distraction. I think it's again taking new age distraction and getting a lot of people to invest, not have fruition and get more, I mean, wear people down on it.
Yeah.
Where can you do the free energy projects that aren't real? You take big investments, you do this, and you don't deliver on it, and you get people that would need to get together. So they're very hesitant the next time.
I could sooner
It's effective.
imagine the piezo electricity thing, where
Mhm.
you walk on the sidewalk and it generates electricity just by walking on the
Mhm.
sidewalk. Imagine getting
Yes.
that on the freeway. Like
Right.
that's much more believable for me.
There's a
Just getting
lot
all
of
that.
different ways that are yes. And you had that one guy, I forgot who it was. I've watched because of living with Bob. Liz got to see our bag of the DVDs and all of the specialty items. We had a lot, but yeah, we went hardcore into the ones so much that I almost feel like so much came in that I don't remember even names on half the stuff anymore. What was studied in the background. But yeah, he did a lot with the free energy, went really, really deep diving into it. And I think that he felt too there were threads of good reality that was getting shut down, but also there's a lot of, I think, intentional. And I feel that Mr. Proctor, Mr. Gambler, whoever he is, again, I feel that these are the people putting out the well-made pieces that make you feel so good about saving the world. Why
It's
they're
just a rabbit
vaccinating,
hole.
right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. What's your take, Kyle?
I keep thinking about the many different like tech conventions that we've seen over the years. Remember hearing about glass and about how glass is so super innovative and how like imagine having your phone on just a sheet of glass and that's it. And like there's all these different things that are out there that we're just kind of sitting waiting for it to really take off, but a lot of it just comes down to marketing and actually mass producing these kinds of things. I remember looking in college about the grocery stores of the future and about how they'd have light up cereal boxes and like imagining like just you put something on the shelf and it lights up just because of it's integrated into the shelving structure. And yeah, there's all kinds of amazing technological inventions that are there. They could implement it, but they just haven't.
I
So
was just watching
that
one
is
of those, a guy from the 70s, and he was explaining he was wearing the outfit of the future, right? And it was just like a three-piece suit, and his watch was a television and a phone and a video phone and all this stuff like the Apple smartwatch they have today, right? And then he had this little box that was his workspace that he could carry around with him. It was like a laptop. But then he said, and then I'm wearing the new type of suit that gets cooler if my body temperature rises and then cools and then heats up. The clothes actually warm up when my
sounds
body
dangerous.
temperature gets low. It was this like climate controlled clothing, supposedly. And I've never heard anything about
That
that in my
doesn't
whole
sound
life.
healthy at all. Like your
Yeah.
body has to like regulate temperatures, and if you get too stuck on one temperature, yeah, you're just asking for trouble.
I was a little bit chillier. This is the climate control things I put on the big fuzzy robe when it gets a little bit chilly and breezy, and we take it off when it gets warm. What I really want everybody to stop and think about, because I think everybody forgets it entirely when we talk about man-made and all the tech and the headphones and all of the stuff and the earth and this. There is nothing. Everything we take and we make from rocks, dirt, water, and what you're looking at around you. In other words, things that we think of man-made, we forget it. But every single thing that we use and make, we make plastics from oils and different technologies. Everything is just there. There's nothing that we're importing from outer space and bringing here that's like, again, man-made. We forget that we make everything that we're using and things from. Go outside and look, and yet we've lost that entire connection that again, walking in thinking that you can only buy vegetables at a store, and you know, again, we disconnect so much, but we forget, and we compartmentalize, and we learn the little compartmentalization. But when we talk about the things that we're making that can't be degraded in this, got news for you people: this earth, everything is created of this earth, of this earth, and we can't bring things in here that aren't already here. We really can't.
And they do. Dr. Bass
Mhm.
says, I think they have clothing that harvests enough kinetic energy to power a small device.
Right.
Yeah, it's
Your
that
movement.
piezoelectric. They'll have little pieces of, I think it might be a copper or something, but they have
Mhm.
little things in there. And as you bend them, like say you're bending your wrist or you bend your elbow, things like that, bending your knee, sitting down, those things bend and flex and create a charge. Yeah,
You've seen those
I've
light up
seen this
shoes all
coming
over the
out.
place, right? And those light up
Mhm.
scooters.
If
Seems
you
the
have
batteries always
anybody's,
die on this
yeah,
though, so I don't I don't
have
really get that. How do the batteries
appreciation.
die?
Yeah. Have appreciation for your people wearing your Rolexes on their wrist, and some of your other
Yeah, that's
auto
free energy just
automatic
by them
perpetual.
moving.
All
Hmm.
that is it's an auto perpetual movement, which means there is no battery or anything in it. It has a movement that it uses the motion of your arm to continually wind it, and that so you don't need to wind it, and it doesn't need a battery. And of course, if you have many watches and you're not winding them, you find that the people buy something called watch winders. So they have cases of winders that will keep
Yeah, they just
their
keep the
watches
Rolex in motion, so
in motion, so it's always
stays
wound.
wound up. Yeah,
So again, you'll
that's
say
really neat.
it's
If you've never seen them take apart a
mhm.
Rolex and put it back
Oh, they're
together,
fabulous.
it's so
But
cool when they drop that last
mhm,
little wheel in there and then it just takes off
mhm.
and just starts doing its own thing.
Doing its own
Yeah.
thing. So again, that right there, that's auto perpetual. It works on your emotion again, and but again, your wealthy people that buy it don't want to have to like do this to wind it up, or even doing it. It can do a self winder. So we do plug them in. We wind up getting a watch without a battery, and then we wind up buying a little case that's got a battery that actually spins it and uses a lot more energy than the watch would ever use with a battery. I find it fascinating. And yet there's a whole market for watch winders, and again, those little cases that do it, and that's a fabulous market. The things we create and do, we're amazing actually. I think of it, the ingenuity, to have it so you have a watch that you don't have to wind or plug in, and it
They're
works on its own
horrible
out
at
of
keeping
motion.
time though. Rolexes are notoriously
If you,
bad at keeping time.
they're
They're
actually very
horrible.
good at keeping time, considering the way that they're working, not on a quartz movement or anything, and working
Well,
off of the motion off of your hand. If you want
yeah,
something
but
keeps perfect time, buy a Timex, a cheapie. It's a piece of art to have it click and do time. Rolexes are brilliant.
well,
Any
no,
of the
my
movements,
Tissot keeps really good time, like almost
right?
to the second for
It has a
days.
quartz. It's got a quartz
It's
movement in
amazing.
it.
Where
Yeah,
Rolexes, people say it's like 4 to 7 minutes a day. They have to correct it. Like they're not very good at keeping accurate time, is what I'm saying.
right, right. One's got a quartz movement, and one is self-working. And if your battery dies, the other one's a piece of art and one's a piece of wires. But yeah, the Rolex really is a piece of art on the inside. The way that it works and the way that when you rotate your arm and it moves it, and it's pretty impressive. I mean, it's art.
Yeah, I still don't quite fathom it, how it works. It's kind of one of those trade secret type things. I see other people, other watch companies are starting to do it. little cheaper
Been around
prices.
for a long time.
But yeah, it's been around for a long time, and
Mhm.
I still
Mhm.
don't comprehend how you just moving is gonna. Yeah, it's
Mhm.
it's
You can
wild to
see
me.
it makes a weight. The weight moves it and spins it because your arm. It's fabulous. But okay, we love
All right,
watches. We love all
everybody,
watches. Timekeepers. All right.
that is
It
gonna do it
rocks.
for tonight's show. Thank you so much for hanging out. We'll be back again next week,
Liz, yes, we will.
most
Liz, come over
likely,
and say goodbye to everybody. We'll be back next
if
week.
you want
Next
to.
week we are in the office, and very, very possibly, I don't know if you guys think this is a good or a bad thing. Very possibly, my son has got it where people don't know, but in Helene, my office got wiped out. The computers, the monitors, everything got completely destroyed. And so I'm working on an iPad instead of a double monitor, which is, and I wasn't used to working Mac. I was used to working PC. So it was learning new tech. But next week I should have a MacBook and this that combined with two screens that I can hook up with the camera we were doing it. So we can do displays again, like anisotropic, and actually do demos and displays like I used to when I had it hooked up to a pad. Or you can do hand displays on it. So we can display again. Like your little neon tubes now, we can actually even show it good from the office where I'll have the display set up in here. It's been a minute. You guys remember I used to make you look at lines through things and that? Yeah. We can do that again. You might not want to, but I'll have the technology again.
All right.
Don't know what to
Well,
do with it, but we're getting it back. All right.
thank you all so much for hanging out. Remember, be good to each other. Don't lie to each other. Open your mind because there's truth inside. Peace out, everyone.
Peace.
Peace.